can only do what is within our scope. And so the first thing is to react spontaneously with compassion. And compassion means I put myself in the place of the other person and try to understand what is their pain and what are they going through. They may be going through something which is completely. Let's take a mental state. The Bhagavad Gita starts off with a man suffering from a nervous breakdown, shaking. The evidence is there, shaking, confused, not knowing what to do, in deep depression and despondency that leads to inaction. I can't move. It's as if I'm stunned. And so what will I do? Well, I won't move. So depression has that effect, and it becomes a cycle. I know I have to move, I cannot do it, and so on. And then the hollow gets deeper. So firstly, we have to really understand what is the person suffering. And when we understand the person's suffering, then we can do something spontaneously for that person. Then you see the compassion is because suffering is something that we all have gone through. We all, even when a small child falls down and grazes the knee, there's suffering, you can't avoid it. So accept that it's part and parcel of life. The Sanskrit term for nature is prakriti, means something that is rough, something that is refined. Sanskrit is something that is refined. So we're going through life, a struggle of disharmony and harmony, and nature has a way of adjusting that. And pain has a great value. Because you see, if you take the Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapters are there, and the first thing begins with pain. Arjun Vishara Yoga, that is the despondency of Arjun. And then the whole of the remedy takes place. Now, I was saying earlier, see, the one thing that Krishna does not do, he doesn't say, oh, Arjun, please lie down here on the battlefield. Tell me all about your parents and when you first, felt rejected and all those kinds of things and what happened to you and so on and so forth. Take notes, good, our session is over, come next week again and so on. No. He tells Arjun not to be foolish. Now imagine somebody's suffering and you're saying, you're foolish. That doesn't sound very sympathetic. And yet you see, people don't understand the truth. What is the truth? The truth is that all of our reactions and all concerns are really only on the surface. On the surface, the human body is suffering. There are remedies for it, no doubt, but the suffering is inevitable. Pain is inevitable. So compassion has no impact or meaning unless it leads us to do something. See, I'm thirsty. Oh, so sorry about that. Never mind, move on. And no, I'll make you a cup of tea or something, I'll give you something to drink. I'll give you water, whatever it is. There's that story of a man in the desert. He is abandoned, crawling through the sand, desperate for water, desperate, thirsty. And he comes across a man on a camel. Do you have water? He says, no, but I have all kinds of ties, red ties, blue ties, spotted ties, and so on. Like that, he goes, meets about 3-4 people like that. No, can't spare you any water. I only have enough for me and my camel and so on. But anyway, you can purchase a tie. I'm a tie salesman. Eventually, he comes to a big flashing light. Hotel is there. And he crawls up the step. Thank goodness, it's not a mirage. And there's a person by the door. I'm sorry, sir, you cannot come in here without a tie. So nature provides us with resources which we don't recognize. And one resource we have is a resource to reasonableness, compassion, and activity. If we can employ those 3 things, we can solve most problems. We're equipped to do it. Now, there's a very important passage in the Bhagavad Gita that I quote from endlessly probably, and that is, you see, and every child of the age of 9 should be taught it. See, you are your own best friend, your own worst enemy. You can raise yourself up or lower yourself. It's up to you. And what that means is any person wanting to help somebody will have to raise them up as much as they can. But it requires you to be stable. If you want to be of use, you yourself have to be stable. So that every human encounter, if you want to do something worthwhile in life, will result in somebody's spirit being uplifted. What somebody says is shiny eyes, smiling faces. Wouldn't it be a blessing if everything you said, every encounter, left somebody elated? So you yourself have to be in a condition to do that. It's no good saying, oh, be happy, smiling. If you yourself are an unhappy person, it's not going to work like that. So you yourself have to be stable, and stability comes from the deepest level. What is the deepest level? Deepest level is the recognition that the superficial waves that we call body and mind are really just things that come and go. And there will be hollows and there will be peaks. And the hollows we call pain, and the peaks we call joy. And if we are stable amidst that, not affected by any of these things, is equivalent to this detachment. It's not a non-compassionate detachment. It's simply an acknowledgement of the fact that waves come and go. But underneath it, more than that, is the recognition that something profound, deep, stable, infinite is there, and it is your own nature. And so for that reason, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita does not take a psychological approach and try to fix things as if things were wrong. He assumes actually things are well. Trillion of knowledge, all things will be well, all things will be well, all manner of things will be well, like that. Amidst Black Death and so on and so forth, she was able to be positive while meditating on a suffering Christ. Imagine. How do you get to that point? There's an inner shift, a kind of inner elation that happens when you engage in internal spiritual life and make a recognition. Aha, I am that immortal one. So you can go through life thinking we have to patch everything up, fix everything. God is a stupid thing who made a stupid world with hollows and gaps and spaces. And therefore, he has to fill them in. Life and nature is a whole environment of rags and patches. And we have to keep sewing it up and doing it on behalf of God, because probably if he was capable of doing it, he would have done it in the first place. That kind of attitude. As sooner or later, our prayer life shifts. Instead of saying, Lord, give me this, Lord, give me that. I want this, I want that. We're living in an area of +1, -1. We don't get anywhere. At some stage or other, we realize, actually, do we really think that life is full of despair, hollowness, gaps, spaces, things that have to be filled, inadequacies? Or is it fundamentally full and free and perfect? And if we come to that conclusion, even just logically, then we have to practice something different. And all of our language, suffering language or elation language, all of our thoughts is in terms of internal scripts. We are all in a monologue with ourselves constantly. We change our way of thinking by changing the way we frame our sentences, the way we frame our words. And we don't have to construct sentences. Thoughts are much more rapid than that. The mind is not concerned with commas and full stops and capital letters and all that, and grammar and so on. So we put in words. Very often you hear about, we want affirmations, And the affirmation is a big sentence or a paragraph. We can hardly remember such a thing. No, our thought comes like this in seconds. Strong, true, wise, full, free, truth, beauty, goodness, love, harmony, put that in. Constantly put that in. As soon as you say strong, every single cell of the body is going to vibrate with strength. There's an exercise that was recommended in one of the positive thinking books from the 60s and 70s. A wonderful exercise. Sit there, close your eyes, imagine all the historical characters that you admire or parts of their character you admire. Let's say you sit down and say, I wonder if I sat here in a room and there's a door here and Napoleon walks through the door and I have him in a chair and I ask him some questions and try to understand what his reply is, I might get the strength that he had in leadership. Never mind about whether he was a flawed character or not. I'm only concerned with that particular characteristic. Then the next person, I can take a higher, somebody of a higher value character, such as a Jesus or a Buddha. Please come, please sit here. Now, please tell me, how did you manage to understand a formula, a way of looking at the world that would establish peace or would remove pain? Can you tell me what that looks like? And then listen. You do that in your imagination and see that every value that is presented makes a kind of resonation in the mental field and physical field also. And don't think that the physical body is isolated and limited. Because our physics tells us that the human body is a magnetic field. And every thought goes beyond any boundaries we can think of, because at the fundamental level, there are no boundaries. The boundaries are imposed by our view. In a deep sleep, all the boundaries are gone. In deep meditation, all the boundaries are gone.
But does that not mean that
Yeah.
also means that you have to sort of detach yourself in a way from nature, nurture, because your viewpoint on the world, or your worldview is coming from your environment and from your parents and your family and the people around you.
Mhm.
So, it's like one person sees a situation, sees a car driving down the street and puts their hands to their heads and goes, oh my God, that car is going to drive into loads of people and
Yeah.
they're going to die. And
Yeah.
another person will go, oh, there must be some sort of an event on. Look at the car driving down the town with
Yeah.
loads of balloons
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
the
So-
perspectives are different.
Yeah. So we can,
Ingrained.
yes. So we are conditioned not to be stable all the time. We're conditioned by the events, but the recovery is the key. In other words, we take the shock, we take the initial impression, but then that is all happening within space, within time. What time Patanjali tells us, time by definition is the interval between two events. What is an event? It's not necessarily a physical event. There are also events called thoughts or feelings. They come, they go, but they come at intervals. What's presented now? A train comes, a train goes. We're interested in catching the train now, not the one that's gone. And so there's not much use in worrying about the past but what is presented can be shocking. What is presented can be challenging. That's all right. We take it. But if we now respond from the habit level of panic or of horror or of breakdown or of withdrawing or aggression, biology presents us with those things. We can move toward a thing and be aggressive. We can run away from a thing, or we can stand, we don't know what to do, yield, mesmerized by the event. Conditioning, a counter conditioning is necessary. That's the practical use of philosophy, which says all these events are wave-like events. They come and they go. Underneath it is the infinite. The infinite invisible stands underneath it. That stability is there. Now, am I just waffling or have I applied this? Oh, yes. So I give you one instance, I suppose, and that is I was in a vehicle with four of us, four people. I'm the only survivor from it. Why? Applied philosophy. I knew the event was a landmine event. We were all blown up. And knowing that life is temporary and knowing that I have no fear of death or any such thing like that, I landed, or I rolled over and got up. That saved me, and attended to the others where I could. That kind of reaction is not a spontaneous reaction. We have to condition the reaction. So we have to move toward anything worthwhile will take time, will take determination, resolution, and practice. 3 principles in life that we need to learn. You can write it down if you like. First principle is practice. What's the second principle? Practice.
I'm going to write down that with it.
What's the third principle?
I know I've got recorded.
Practice. Practice, practice, practice. It's as simple as that. We have to practice. With everything, we have to practice, isn't it? If you want to play a musical instrument you never played before, well, doing it occasionally won't work. So practice means steady, repeated practice. What does that mean in creating stability whereby we can help somebody in a compassionate way? It means a deep spiritual life. And that deep spiritual life comes along with a shift of attitude to say, all of this psychophysical thing, all this unconscious thing, all these reactions, all the information that is received, all our interpretation of the world in front, all of this, without exception, is a kind of floating thing that comes and goes. And we can't ignore it because we live in it, but we have to revalue it. Now, on the one side, therefore, is the nitya, the eternal. And on the other side of the coin is the lila, the play. If we don't take it like a kind of drama, if we ignore Shakespeare's dictum, life is, all the world's stage and we are but players. Well, it's not a whimsical statement. If you examine it properly, there can be no other explanation. The other night, somebody was asking me, they were saying, oh, please can you tell me why is it like this? Why did God make a world which is so crazy, so full of difficulties, so full of pain and all the rest of it? Why should it be like that? The actual answer is, we don't know. That's the honest answer. But the only plausible explanation, and that presents another way, is it's a play. And so that we call that lila. It's a drama with actors on the stage that shift and play their part and rehearse their lines. It's called habit, character formation, play different characters on this stage, and then go back. Also, I often say in a Shakespearean play, you see, the Shakespearean actor, having taken his make-off off and his costumes and so on, doesn't go home hungry and say to his wife, oh, mine wench, put thy victuals on my table that I may enjoy thy repast, that kind of attitude. No, he's left his Shakespearean part behind. He doesn't take it seriously. Even during the play, he knows, I'm not the part. What's our error? I'm the part. The passport identity, that's me. No, it's not. It's a functioning thing. It has name, it has form, and it has function. Nama Rupa Kriya. Name, form, and function. That means everything in nature has a purpose, a function. We have a purpose. because we are individuals. Individual means we have an individual purpose, something that nobody else can do, we should do. We assess our talents and abilities and say, how will I apply that for the overall good? Because if I don't do it for the overall good, then I'm dragging the mind down. I'm my own worst enemy, not my own best friend. So there's Arjuna on the battlefield, suffering from despondency. Some question really is, oh, what a terrible thing depression is, despondency, and so on and so forth. What a blessed thing. You have another 17 chapters to go. First chapter is Arjuna Visharada Yoga, despondency, depression. All right, good. You can't go lower than that. The next step is go up in the lift. In a department store, there's the ground floor. This is a basement, actually. You can't go any further in the basement. So if you want to go to the highest floor, top floor, you take the lift, and somebody, in the old days, there was an attendant, haberdashery, this and that, the other, next floor, and people got off like that. So we should try to elevate our mind to the highest position possible. Now, when we do that, we're in a position to be supremely compassionate. And if you take the examples of supreme compassion, they look like eccentricity. Would you lay your life down for another? You can test it out. Will you stand in the firing line to protect somebody else? The highest form of love we know is a mother's love. Mother will willingly do it. But if you don't know the person, another person's child, will you do it? Will you hang on a cross or something like that for the good of humanity? Will you dedicate your whole life like the Buddha to compassion, solving man's humanity, man's difficulty about pain? Buddha's remedy is very medical, very simple. There is pain. There's a cause of the pain. What's the cause of the pain? Desire. What does it do about desire? Desire means I don't see the world as complete. I have to try and complete it myself through self-effort. And it's hopeless because I can't do it. Can't fill all the holes in. Not possible. Not even the English words department can do it. So what do? We shift our understanding and see, actually, it's not incomplete, it's full and free. Why don't I access that? Why don't I access my innermost dimension, which is the infinite invisible? Krishna's language, fire cannot burn, water cannot wet it, wind cannot dry it. It is eternal, it is infinite. This is the immortal Atman. This is Krishna's psychological remedy for Arjun's dilemma. And then he's saying, get up, do your job. Employ all your skills and talents for the good of the overall good. That's what you're here for. This is your supreme secret. This is your internal DNA. This is your potential. This is why God, if you put it this way, made an investment, not a bad investor. Invested you in a unique way to make some kind of purpose. Now, we have to come back to the question, the original question. How does all of this help somebody who is in a circumstance and suffering, and we are frustrated because we want to do something to help them? And so what can we do? It seems inadequate. And yes, if you're from the human level, there will always be an inadequacy. Because if I say I'm limited, then I can only do limited things. But if you take the yogic approach seriously, one yogic approach will talk about pranayama. That is the control of energy. And Vivekananda makes a comment in his Raja Yoga. If you really are able to control energy, there only being one energy, then you can control the whole world, energy in the whole world. Where do we find energy? We find it as gravitational energy in the furthest galaxies, electrical energy, radiational energy, electromagnetic energy, all of this. We are controlling, we become omnipotent, all powerful. We can do it. If you think it's just theoretical, then examine the miraculous life of those who did it. You know? So, and we describe it as miracles, not a miracle. It's a natural law. We not being caught up in this nature with a wrong identification, we can control the whole of nature.
Swami, sorry.
Yeah.
But if you have the idea to do this kind of let's say thinking, or I don't know, isn't it a way to, you want to control something and to remedy something?
Yes. Not remedy, but control. There's a difference. Remedy means something's wrong, we have to fix it. Control means nothing is wrong. And because nothing is wrong and I'm not involved in nature, I can control it. If you sit in your car, and you drive it to the supermarket, are you remedying something? Maybe you say, I'm remedying my grocery cupboard. I don't know. But you're not remedying something. You're using the car. The car has a function. Body has a function. Mind has a function. We should use it, and we should use it in our specialized, unique way for the good of all, for the overall good. Overall good means we also benefit. All-inclusive formula. See the old story I give. See, farmer has suffering from a drought, so he prays. Oh, please, may I give? Please supply rainfall on my farm. Now we can use a little bit of humorous imagination. The request goes to the Heavenly Administrative Office. They say, oh, we have a request. Farmer Brown, he wants, or let's be a little bit more, Farmer McDonald, because we know he had a farm. He's run out of water, so we have to put rain in his way. He's asked, may he have rain? So they go to the universal, the cosmic stores. Okay, all the rain goes, because they never deny any request. All of it goes on his land, and he creates a flood and saturates all his crops. Useless. What should he have said? May everybody have rainfall, please. May everybody have abundance. When you say, may everybody have abundance, that generative spirit, you yourself get it, because there's nothing to fill in. Now, if this Atman, if this infinite is true of you, it's true of everybody else, every unit that you come across, every person presenting themselves with a suffering. Do we have any examples of that? Yes. If we take, for example, without any criticism, the Gospels, the life of Jesus and so on, all his miracles and so on, so-called, they look like a miracle to the human eye. To the divine eye, it's a natural process. Was he in the midst of suffering? Yes. Let's take it in its historical context. The whole of the nation, Jewish nation, is suffering because they're under a cruel Roman occupation, who have really not much regard for their culture and so on. They think that, like any conqueror, they feel, or colonialist, they feel superior. And so, like that. Now, in the midst of all that, the whole people are suffering. And then individuals are suffering because there are cases of people with leprosy. Not only is it a physical suffering, but it is also social suffering. Because the Jewish tradition says this person, leprosy is an unclean thing. They have to sit away from the city in a special location. We want nothing to do with them. We can't feed them. They have to look after themselves. They're suffering, but not for Jesus. Curing people of leprosy, curing people because they cannot walk properly. Blind people cannot see. More than that, they present a dead person, a friend, Lazarus, and the relatives come, oh Lord, somehow, knowing his potency, Lord, if you had been here, he would have still been living. Where were you? You were absent. Now Jesus says, he but sleepeth. Why? Because Jesus' wiring saw the fullness there. He didn't see a dead person. So he pronounced the truth. He's only sleeping. What is death? Only a sleeping condition. Somebody left this room, went to another room. Finished. From Jesus' point of view. Jesus' point of view, a lame man comes. Oh, this man cannot walk. Lie him in a bed. Can you do something for him? Jesus' point of view, the Lord of the universe is there, standing full and free and perfect. I know the Lord not only is the Lord not lame, but his hands and feet are everywhere. It's only the Lord in full playing this drama, presenting to me. As soon as I see that, the lame man gets up and walks. Take up your bed and walk. So he took his bed up and he walked. The blind man saw, put a little spittle there, little mud, unhygienically, put it on the eyes, go and wash it off. Don't tell anybody. Of course, the man tells everybody. Because from Jesus' point of view, the blind man, there's no blind God. God is not blind. God is all-seeing. God is omnipotent and all-knowing and all-seeing. Can't hide anything from him. Lord, you're perfect there. Father in heaven, you're standing there. Immediately the blind man sees. Blind man sees, lame man walks, dead man wakes. One man having that vision, having that perspective, we can all have it, isn't it? If one person can do it, everybody can do it. We have to learn that wiring. Deep down in philosophy, it says, all these were there, but underneath, the tranquil ocean is there, the infinite invisible is there. As soon as I access it, all the waves are controlled. So that's another way of saying prana is controlled. Pranayama. That's why Vivekananda puts that statement. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest us thus controlling nature, internal and external. What's the difference between internal and external? Nothing. One is gross, the other one is subtle. As soon as you shift the subtle forces, called thought, then everything in the so-called external world adjusts and arranges itself in accordance with that. Somebody who doesn't know that secret will say miracle. Those who know the secret will say natural law, divine law, nothing supernatural in it. Everybody can do it, but change your view. Why should we change our view? Because when we change our view, we find the source of happiness. We find the joy. All the misery goes away. The misery only comes when we put 1, 2, 3, 4 people or more and set up a relationship with other people and places and events and create an attachment to it. So the whole of the Bhagavad Gita is about detachment or renunciation. We have to learn the technique of understanding I'm not what I think I am. And also, this is what we do the Enneagram, I'm not the mask. See, I'm the one that's behind it. More than that, all these things in front of me are divine waves of energy. And I can see through that. And when I have that penetrating vision, I see there are no difficulties in the world. You may think there are many difficulties because of BBC and this and that and the other, all giving us bad news. And if you want to be depressed, then listen to the news 24 hours of the day and drag your mind down. But if you want to learn the truth and look at it from the absolute valid perspective, the reality, then you'll learn to have a penetrating vision and bring up the higher values whenever the other ones come up. What are the other ones? We classify them as selfishness. Selfishness Where's all your mental energy going? I'm thinking of me and saying every second, poor me, what a pity. Poor the other person, and what a pity. No, what a glory here, what a glory there, what a glory everywhere. Can you not cultivate that attitude? So for people who are suffering within our field, the first thing is natural compassion. And where's the compassion coming from? It's coming from the fact that suffering is a reality and we've been through it ourselves, and we can put ourselves in that position. And when a person is sad, we cry also, yes. But we don't leave it there. We go to the psychological level where there's even more suffering. And we use the same thing because there's nobody immune from it. But don't stop there. Another penetrating vision goes to the deepest level. At the deepest level, there is no suffering. There are no two things. There's only the infinite invisible. And we can use our imagination to catch it. Oh Lord, you are there dressed up. You take your favorite symbol or favorite reading of the absolute. It's called God. Oh Lord, you are there. It could be a Jesus, it could be a Buddha, it could be a Ramakrishna, it could be some other thing. If we have no idea about that, it could be a symbol like the sun or something. There you are radiating, without which the eyes are not shining, without which the vocal cords don't work, without which food doesn't get digested, without which the cells operate as islands of independent operation, but working in a coordination way. They're remarkable. There's understanding that, and I think I mentioned before, if you want information to go to the nucleus of the cell, the information from the membrane going to the cell is equivalent, well, here I'm in England, so is equivalent to a journey between London and Edinburgh. And it happens in a flash. There's no train journey that you can think, any transport company that can work so quickly. Imagine. What a wonderful thing that is. And then we can control all of that. How do we do it? If we accept that mind is subtle matter and matter is gross mind, then by rearranging our thinking, then every cell of the body rearranges itself in accordance instantaneously. Every resolution and intention carries through inevitably. It's infallible, unless we neutralize it with foolish thinking. So we learn the art of controlling the thought. That's the whole idea. And when we can control our thought in ourselves, we have a different view of those people who are suffering. Starting from compassion, deep understanding, stimulating us to do something for them on a practical level, but underneath it all, oh Lord, you are there. See, Jesus did it. Although he's thinking, Lord, you're full and free and perfect, standing there behind, he's still telling the blind man, look, I put mud here, a ritual, go and wash it off. He's still doing something for the person. He's not saying, oh, look after yourself, because so many blind people are here. So many lame people are here. You're just one among them. And I don't know you. I've never met you. It's even worse in England because you don't speak to somebody if you haven't been introduced. So somebody is suffering, that's your business. No. So it's an all-embracing generosity of spirit that says, I can be compassionate to those around me, have a penetrating vision that has a curative property without me deliberately planning that, just a spontaneous reaction to my thought process. And more than that, but that compassion goes broadly because it's easy to be compassionate for a family member, but it's not so easy. If we really feel that love is all embracing and has no boundaries, and that we have the capacity to increase this thing called love and expand it infinitely, not just to the earth and all its beings, but to all beings in the entire universe. That's why we say Gayatri Mantra Bhutva Swaha. We invoke three worlds. May all beings be happy means may all beings in the three worlds be happy. And if there's anything beyond, so be it. May that be happy too. People discuss now, oh, are there aliens? Yeah. And so on. Yeah. Supposing there are, let them also be happy. May all beings be happy. Sarva Bhuta, may all beings be happy. That's the approach. The ancient rishis worded their prayers very carefully. May all beings be happy. May all things be peaceful. May all beings be blissful. Let there be no exception to it. Like that. So your compassion, your natural compassion, expanded so deeply that you do something within your scope, within your finite boundaries, you do something, but then you rearrange your thinking and see, oh Lord, you are there. And you are full and free and perfect. And if you're stressed because they are stressed, and you sit down for meditation and all these difficulties come and inundate your mental field, you use that for your meditation, using your full capacity of creative imagination. Somebody's suffering. Okay. Oh, I can imagine you there, seated on a royal throne. Your face is beaming. Instead of a physical body, you have a body made from pure love. You are God dressed up. Your face is shining. I put garlands around your neck. And I decorate your feet. And I offer you some water and some sacred food and seek your blessings. Because, Lord, you are there beaming. You are the queen of the entire universe. What will happen? It's called spiritual healing. The other person gets the fullness and perfection there. Don't call it a miracle. The spiritual healing is just readjusting your way of thinking, that's all. So we learn this example from such people as Jesus and Buddha and Ramakrishna, all the saintly people who had this shift of attitude and were able to see the divinity within the humanity. Cultivate that. Supposing somebody is ill in bed and they're suffering, and you think, there's nothing I can do except talk to them, or massage of the Divine Mother of the Universe, form of that supreme you think of. If you think that everybody is human and some are good and some are bad, and some are with you and some are against you, and I can't travel on public transport because I catch all their bad vibrations or something like that, you're suffering from you yourself are suffering from one thing. It's called superstition. There's only one energy. Why should you be affected by good or bad, by vibrations or any of this nonsense? No, Lord of the Universe is there, and there's only one energy. And the most subtle energy is the energy of thought, what is called psychic prana. Immobilize that. The world changes. You want to change the world? Change your thinking. Well,
thank you very much, Swami. It gives new ideas.
Yes.
New way of seeing these things.
No, it's the only way of thinking. See, see all the so-called professions that we have to do with healing. Conventional doctors, your GP, the surgeon that wants to cut everything, and all the rest of it, the psychologist that says, oh, you have to fix something. See, these are all people such as the unprofessional, won't take the example too far, not to cause offense, who come and or who examine your car, yeah, and say, and you have a problem with the car, and the first thing they will do is shake their head. Oh, and think, how much can I charge to fix things that don't need fixing? Nothing is broken. If nothing is broken, there's nothing to fix. So the whole of the understanding comes probably maybe from misplaced theology that says, well, we're all born with sin. We're all sinners. There's nothing we can do about it. And so the wage of sin is death, that kind of thing. And we have to be saved from an external source. That kind of distorted theology maybe penetrates the whole of our Western culture, which says, well, you have to go and see a doctor because something is bound to be wrong. Nobody thinks that everything is right. The wonder of the human body that I keep repeating, even, I know by heart, you probably know by heart also now, that one small teardrop, even diluted in a 20-liter bucket of water, is still effective as a germ killer. And supposing germs get passed into here, the whole lot of cilia, some foreign body gets there, it can be gotten rid of through coughing and what have you. Even if it gets to the digestive system, the stomach, hydrochloric acid sits there. And all the antibodies can get mobilized. What we call a sickness is a cure in most cases. Common case, like a cough or something, influenza. Oh, what is influenza? I don't know. Germs somehow attack me like a microbial air force. Why me? Why didn't they attack the other person? I got the flu and he didn't get the flu. Now, you see, internally, there is a defense system which goes into operation. And so the mucus lining reacts to it, coughing, sneezing, verging, and so on and so forth. A cold is a cure. Is the body trying to adjust itself and make the cure. So we have to trust that process as we have to trust the whole of nature and the whole of life. God made the world and saw that it was good. Only us stupid people think it's bad. This is way above positive thinking. Positive thinking is desperately trying to be positive. There's nothing positive about it. Everything is full and overflowing. Why should we think any different? So the whole of life is a nice drama designed for us to discover this fact. Welcome pain. Well, why not? It's good for us. We learn much more from it. That's why the Bhagavad Gita begins with it. Arjuna is suffering. When Buddha saw the events, the condition of people, namely disease, old age, poverty, and all that. And then he saw somebody who voluntarily embraced an isolated life, poverty life, a wandering sadhu. With all of this, it made a profound impression on him. See, and that led to a ceremony, a way out of pain. How do you get out of pain? Not by removing it. You get out of pain by shifting your point of view, elevating your mind to something much higher. Well, this was question answer. I don't know if there are any more questions.
Swamiji, I had my hand up.
Yes.
So you were saying that everything is already fine, and doctors and consultants who kind of want to cut you and all, they don't see it like that. But I'm also thinking, you also said that, like, if something is out of balance and to see these people who are, giving you solution as the solution that is being given from God itself. So how do we kind of maintain that balance where we know something is out of balance and we don't try to solve it or sort it out, just sit on it? Or we go to a specialist who, gives us a plan and we follow through with it, thinking that this is God's plan for me.
Then that's fine. You take it like that. Take it as God's solution given to you.
Okay.
You see, I'm not saying cut out the surgeons, the doctors, and all that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
The lawsuit on me if I say that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we do what we can within the context, and we take advantage where the solution becomes obvious, such as your case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Thank you so much.
Swami, what were the 3 words that we had to get Pat to write down earlier on?
First word was?
No, that wasn't practice.
Okay, all right.
You said purpose. You were talking about Arjuna and depression.
Yeah.
And you said there are three things we can do, or 3 things we should do. No, before that.
So if you want to help yourself,
yes.
If you want to be of assistance to others,
yes,
as a good, a well-formed character, as a compassionate person, as a moral person wanting to do something, that impulse is within us. That's a good trait. But you see, and I think we gave an example earlier on, see, in the old days, and I gave an example, I'm suffering from breathing difficulties, I'm emphysema and so on. In the old days, I go to doctor's office and he says, well, first thing, give up smoking. So you have to be the product of your own product. You cannot help anybody unless you yourself are stable. If I say I have to help somebody and I can help somebody and I should help somebody, be careful, because you may have to evaluate whether this is pride and egocentricity and selfishness. There are people who sponsor hospitals and many philanthropic causes and what have you, and do it anonymously, except they tell everybody, of course. That saying, I'm humble and proud of it. It doesn't make much sense. So the idea that we can help anybody is actually the supreme example of arrogance.
But I think one of the words you said was that we have a purpose.
Yes.
And then you didn't use the word obligation. You said we have a purpose. Was that gave us meaning?
You see, we have 2 purposes. One is a general purpose that we have because we're all on the same pilgrim journey we're all on. That means we all have the same kinds of obstacles, some more exaggerated than others. When a person has been displaced from their home and lives in a temporary tent on a border, not accepted by this country or that country, see? Well, we're not in that condition, but there's many people like that, suffering. The obvious example I mentioned was Sudan. You keep up with the news, you'll see. And so there's nothing you or I can do about it. And in terms of being there and helping and sending a helicopter and rescuing people, that is beyond our scope. Other people may be able to do it. But there is something we can do. Even somebody sitting in a cave developing a compassionate, all-encompassing point of view called prayer, you can call it any other name, that makes a transformation. There's nothing more powerful than thought. So even from a monastic cell, some people say, oh, well, how meaningless and how selfish a person is by going into a hermit life. You know, monasticism comes from mono, one person, the original idea. Then because that's difficult, you form a community, a support community, then it becomes a monastery and so on. So even in isolation, dedicated just to prayer, let's say there's some monastic orders which they don't speak, they don't talk anything. There's an advantage of that. Nobody can complain. But anyway, they don't say anything. Silent order. Can't understand what such a thing. Yeah, dedicated to prayer life. Not for everybody, for a select handful of people who are able to do that. But they're dedicated to the entire world. If they do it properly, they're dedicated to all beings. It's nothing selfish about it. Knowing that, thought is the most powerful thing. Intention will always infallibly find its condensation in the world.
Yeah.
And so that's a tricky thing, because how often, given in 5 seconds, how many thoughts came? One thought might be, well-intentioned thought, I'm going to do this. I'll start now. Not good at saying I'll start tomorrow, because that's not a resolution anymore. Let's start. I'll do it now, from now on. Okay. Well, then you have to make sure that nothing else shakes it. If something else shakes it, then it's finished. Even one unit of doubt or contrary thought to it will be enough to destroy it. And everything, if you really want to carry it to the end, requires resolute resolution, a kind of desire for something supported by dedication and determination. 3 Ds. If you want 3 of anything, those 3 Ds. Desire, determination, dedication. Easy. Work in 3D. Then you may say, but didn't you say desire was a misplaced understanding about the world? Yes, that kind of desire, yes. That's the cause of pain. I want, I haven't got, cause of pain, frustration comes. So what to do about that? No, you realign it with a desire for truth, not just a desire. A yearning is the description. As long as you see, Ramakrishna says, weep for God for his vision for 3 days, you'll get it. But then he follows it up. But who's bothered by that, you see? People weep buckets full of tears for wife and children and family and this and that and the other and wealth. But whoever weeps for God. But sure as anything, if you do it, you'll get the revelation. So we are suffering from all these distractions. A messed up mind, confused, that is looking here and looking there, the attention like a probe, alighting under, like an insect, you see, like a bee, alighting here and then alight there. But it's more like a fly that has no discrimination about it. One moment it's on a flower, next minute it's on a dung heap. So you have to make sure that, let it be more like a bee, let it alight only on the best flowers and gather the best nectar, please. Steer it like that. Steer your attention like that. Do it habitually. Repeat it. That's where the practice comes in. Do it continuously. Take all the resources and do it. Have a guru, have japa, have prayer, have a regular practice. See the world as a divine play of waves. React to it appropriately. Play the game. Make sure that you're not, you see, we were talking earlier about the hamster on a wheel, complaining. I'm on this wheel. It's frustrating. I can't get off it. Please get me off. Please, may there be something that takes me off. May I get help? Please take me off this wheel. No, I can tell you, you have the capability of getting off it. But how do I do it? And he's going like this. No, you just step off. That's all. You have this, you step off. You join the other foot with it. Then the next one, supposing you're a 4-footed hamster. Then you get off and you can watch the wheel turn by itself for a while and say, oh, being on the wheel was exhausting. Yeah, but why didn't you get off? No, I can't get off. Rescue me. Then what happens when I'm so tired of doing that the hamster body goes, then they say, what happened to me? Oh, I need another wheel. Off you go. It's called reincarnation. Reincarnation of foolishness. Nothing reincarnates in our Vedanta system. We don't believe in it. Because the Atman never comes, never goes, never born, never dies. That's the fact of it. You get used to that idea. Well, okay. Good.
Very good. Excellent.
Nice to see you all.
Thank you, Swamiji. Pranam.
Good.
Thank you, Swami.